and welcome to Spotlight with Kimi. Music is one of the greatest healers. For myself and for millions of people, that's why music is loved so much, is it gets you through so much emotions. It speaks to you. You go through your own sets of emotion while listening to it. It helps motivate you. And today I have the privilege to speak with a rapper who I really admire the way he is able to express his truth fearlessly. And that is the reason I want to put him on the spotlight today. His name is Locksmith, and let's welcome him.
The name of the song is called Home. You know, the song is about having belief in yourself. You know what I mean? Sometimes we go through a lot of things in life, where I know me personally, sometimes we doubt ourselves. You're capable of anything. You just got to believe in yourself. And sometimes you lose your way. You know what I mean? But when you tap into that, it's like you're finding your way home.
Hi, Locksmith. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
No, honestly, this is a big moment for me because I have to be honest, I haven't been following you from day one, but I was introduced by someone close to me to your music, maybe when you started having your solo career more. And honestly, what I admire about you is that you fearlessly speak your truth. And I don't think many people have that quality, especially in the music industry. Sometimes it gets more, commercialized, but you just keep on going. And I really love that about you.
Thank you. I mean, that's really the only way I know how to make music,
My first question is actually, how did you come up with Locksmith? Why Locksmith?
You know what? There's really no like super deep meaning to it. It's just that when I first started rapping, it was me, my best friend, and another friend. We used to go to a friend of ours' house in San Francisco. And every weekend, it was just kind of like our hobby thing to do. And they were rapping. They were kind of a little bit ahead of me. And they already had their rap names. And I was just like, oh, I want to give it a try, And my friend encouraged me to come. And we would go every week. And I would just, write my first couple little raps. And then after maybe a few weeks, I think we recorded our first rap. Like my friend had like a little, back then it was called a ADAT recorder. So it was like an ADAT recorder. And I recorded my first rap. And in that first rap, I said, I had a line where I just said, I'm a lyrical locksmith. And they were just like, they just start calling me Locksmith. So I was just like, no, that's not my rap name. I need something better. But they just kept calling me that. So it just stuck with it. So
I know you, as you said, it's not that deep, but sometimes things just happen like that.
That's usually how it happens. I mean, over time, I've been like, well, it means I'm unlocking your consciousness. I mean, but really, it just came from my friends. Just like, it was like a nickname. And they just started calling me Locksmith. That's Locksmith. And then one time, and I fought it. But then one time it was there was some kind of event or talent show thing I was doing, and I remember the host was like, "Who's Locksmith? Locksmith, come up." I was like, "Oh, that's me." He was just like, "Locksmith, that's hot." Oh, he was like, "Locksmith, that's hot." I was like, "Oh, maybe it is a hot day." So ever since then, I embraced it.
Lock, when did you actually know that you wanted to become a rapper, or when is the first time you remember rapping?
Well, I mean, as a kid, I played around with rapping early on, like just, I don't know, maybe like 10, 11 years old, just goofing around with my friend. But it wasn't like I'm trying to be a rapper, And my older sister was a rapper as well. And she was just like, in the 90s, she went by the name MC Spice, and she was really good. I mean, she toured overseas in Europe, did shows all around California. She was a dancer first. She was a dancer for a local group. I remember they would open up for like Digital Underground and Tupac and stuff like that.
Wow.
When I was a kid. But I was never interested in rapping. I was a basketball player, so I just wanted to play basketball. That was like my main thing in like high school. And then I heard Nas. When Nas came out, his first album, that was like the first album that really got me like hooked on hip hop. Like really, like, I mean, I listened to stuff before that. Like like I said, my older sister was a rapper, but she was more she was into like West Coast, like kind of like Eazy-E, NWA, that kind of rap, you know, like hardcore, like
Yeah.
West Coast stuff. But my big brother, he was more into East Coast, like EPMD, Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One. So I was like, I like both, because when I would ride in the car with my brother, he would play East Coast stuff. When I ride in the car with my sister, she was playing like gangster rap. Although my sister wasn't a gangster rapper. And then when I got older, when I got in like high school, that's when I started getting into hip hop, and I really got into Nas. So Illmatic, when I heard that, that was the first time I actually attempted to rap. Like, yo, I'm trying to rap, you know. But even then, it wasn't. I didn't record. I didn't write anything down. It was just like freestyling, you know. And then, like I said, but when I actually started to like want to actually rap, it was when my friend, like I said, my best friend was like, yo, I was like, what are you guys doing? It was writing. It was like, oh, we writing raps. I was like, what? And I thought, I was like, oh, whatever. And they would just be locked in their room. And I'd be like, yo, man, what are you doing? You know? And he was just like rapping. And then I was like, okay. And then me and him, we did everything together. So eventually he came to me. He's like, yo, bro, you should try. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, just give it a try. I know you could do it. So I started trying. I started doing it. And yeah, I just started doing it over and over again. And I got good. But it was never something I was like trying to do as a career. It was something that I just fell in love with. So it wasn't like it kind of just chose me. It wasn't something I was like, I want to be a rapper. I want to be a rapper. It was just something that we did on the weekends, but I just fell in love with just expressing myself and just becoming an artist. And then, I don't know, and then it just ended up becoming my career, you know?
It kind of happened organically. Like it just naturally happened for you.
Very much organic. Still organic, like, you know?
But I mean, like how you're saying that it wasn't something you had like a goal or you planned out when you were younger. It just kind of happened for you, and then you worked yourself from there.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
It was a love and an appreciation for the art form, first and foremost. It still is.
And your friend, is this who I left?
Yes.
So you kind of already mentioned who your musical influences were, your sister, your brother. So it kind of was in your family. Rhythm was in your family.
Yeah. Like my sister, she was a rapper. My other sister was a singer.
Okay. Wow.
Who would sing with my sister. My brother could sing really well. One of my uncles was a DJ. My cousin was a DJ. And even growing up, I used to dance, you know, like hip hop dance and do all that kind of stuff. Like, so I was always doing something around music. You know, music was definitely a part of my life.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I heard in an interview once that you mentioned you don't actually write out your lyrics. They kind of just flow out. So are you saying you just have a thought in your mind and it just keeps going?
Yes. So when I first started rapping, like I said, we used to go to my friend's house. It was 3 of us. Me, Left, and another friend of ours. We would go to our friend's house to rap, and that was our daily routine. Now, like I said, they were far more advanced than me. Like they had already been rapping. I was just kind of learning from them. So I watched them write bars, and they were really fast. So it was kind of like a competitive thing too. So we would go to our friend Steve's house, and Steve would make the beats, and they would sit there and write their raps, and I would just take long. You know, I just wasn't as advanced as them. And we would take and he lived right across the street from the mall. So we would like write our raps, and then we would go hang out at the mall, get something to eat, and come back and record our song. And that would be what we did. You know, that was our routine for the weekend. But so what I started doing is one of the ways I started writing in my head is like I would go to the mall. We would all go to the mall, and I would start thinking of rhymes while we're at the mall so I could catch up or I could get ahead. So we would all meet up at our friend's house. We're like, oh, let's go get something to eat. We walk over to the mall, and while we're at the mall, I'm thinking of rhymes. I'm memorizing rhymes, or I'm coming up with like, okay, what am I going to talk about? So by the time we get to back to his house and we actually start writing, I would have a head start so I could keep up with them because they were just ahead of me. So that's pretty much how I started developing that style. But then I would still, after I memorized the rhymes in my head, I would put them down on a piece of paper and I would read them. But I never liked holding a piece of paper. I never liked sitting in front of the booth holding or sitting in front of the microphone, holding a piece of paper and reading it. Like, it just never felt natural to me. So then one time when we eventually got up enough money to go to the studio, we had, we booked actual studio time, not somebody's house. Okay. And I forgot my notebook. And I was just like, oh shit, I forgot my notebook. And then I was just like, well, I remember it. You know what I mean? Like, I've already did it in my head, and then I transcribed it on paper. I got it in my, but I was just so, taught that you had to hold a piece of, had to hold a notebook. I thought you had, so I was just like, but I remember it. So once I did that first time, I was like, that's it. I'm never using, you know what I mean? Like, it felt so much natural. Like, even if I messed up, I felt like it was natural. Like, it was supposed to happen that way. So once I did that maybe like 2 more times. And then I was just like, I'm not going to write it down at all anymore. I'm just going to just do it from memory. And at that time I was in a group, so I was only writing 1 verse per song. So I could remember 1 verse, but then over the years, I just started developing it. 1 verse became 2 verses, and 2 verses became 3 verses. And then it became a whole song, and then it became whole albums. And then I just started, it's something
that's how you still do it now. Like, even if it's your whole track, you just don't have anything written.
Wow. Absolutely. I just do it. So I just listen to the beat. And then, like, right now I have a beat that I'm working on. A producer sent me, I listened to the beat automatically. I liked it. So I listened to the beat, and when I kind of get the rhythm in my head, and then I take a shower, but I'm writing it while I'm taking a shower, or I'm making breakfast or whatever, or I go on a run or workout. I'm writing it as I'm, throughout the day. And then by the end of the night, I'll sit and listen to the beat, and then I'll have like pretty much, the whole verse done. And then tomorrow I'll do the next verse. So sometimes if I'm really inspired, I can do it all just in one day or one sitting. It just all depends.
Actually, Locke, since I have you on the show, I get to tell you what my favorite track of yours is of all time. And that is Home, where you featuring Rebecca Nobel. The reason is because that song literally hits home, because I feel like in this world right now, especially with everything happening, there's so much depression, there's so much things that just weigh us down, and there's specific lines from that track that I wanted to mention, and if you can talk a little bit more about it.
Please, yeah.
We all have issues in life regardless of our distinctions. I know my biggest hurdle was easily overthinking. It's like paying admission to take a trip on a cruise, but you can't enjoy the view because you're constantly scared of sinking. You blink, then it's finished with. How come we always downplay our strengths and embellish all of our blemishes?
I think that's the main reason people are depressed, because we look at the blemishes we have, we put that on highlight, but we fail to recognize our strengths or build those up.
Yes, yeah.
I just want you to talk about that. Like, why do you think people fail to focus on their strengths more and instead focus on their weaknesses?
It's just, I think it's just part of our, like, I believe that human beings have 2 parts of their spirit, their soul, or whatever you want to call it. We have our higher soul, which we can achieve so many great things. We're able to accomplish so many great things. We're able to spread so much love. We're able to do so much good. But then we have our lower self, which is where we can feed into the negativity. You know what I mean? I know different, like, I think, like Asian, maybe I think it's like Asian culture or Asian philosophy. I'm kind of ignorant on this, but I know I've heard this before, where they call it like slaying the dragon. You know what I mean? Like, the dragon is that, like, that dark or that lower side. It exists. It's there. But if you know how to tame the dragon, it won't overcome you. And so that song, basically, like, that whole song is just dealing with, like, different issues and, like, my own mental health, my own mental stability. Whether it's overthinking, like, for me, like, it's like my biggest problem, like, in whether it's my art or things in my life, it's just like always overthinking, like, oh, can I do this? It's like, look, you know what? Go with the flow. If you're doing, you're not thinking. If you're thinking, you're not doing. You know what I mean? So just do. Like, you put a little thought into it, because I'm a thinker. I'm always thinking. And that's good. But if you're thinking to the point where it's detrimental, then that can be a problem, if it's slowing you down. So I try to balance it. I feel like I make the most progress in life, whether it's my career, whether it's when I'm not overthinking, when I'm just going. Doing figuring out, like, even I started live streaming and doing stuff like that. It's just like, you know what, just go with the flow. I was just like, well, I got to figure it out, make it perfect. Like, you know what, just do it. Just start it. As you go, as you do it, you'll learn. It's the same thing with rap. I didn't try to be like, I got to figure out to be the best rapper before I can start rapping. No, my friend was just like, yo, man, why don't you give it a shot? Come on, come on. I just did it. It wasn't good, but I stuck at it and I learned it as I went. So I feel like that's kind of like with everything in life, just like don't overthink and keep forward. And then as far as like the thing about embellishing our blemishes, I think that's connected because it's like you're focusing on the fact that, oh, it's not perfect or it's not great. It's like, no, don't worry about that, but you're doing it. You're moving forward. You're going. Like there's so many times where I've put out videos or songs and I'm just like, it's not perfect. I don't know if I want to release it. And I'm just like, I hate, this is my least favorite thing. And then I put it out and it's something that like, I'll give you a perfect example. That song, Home. So that particular song, it's a song that I produced along with my partner, Mike Blankenship and Mike Top Notch. And I had the idea for the song. Like I wanted to make something that was like emotional. That just really kind of had like this chord progression. And so make a long story short, it's based off a Madonna song. Borderline. I always loved that song. I was like listening to like a lot of like 80s pop stuff. And I was like, I really like the chords, like borderline, like when it gets kind of serious, not like the super pop part, but like the kind of like chord progression part. And I was like, I want to do something. So we took that and we kind of like played around with the melodies and I was like, okay. And then I started writing the verse and the beat wasn't even done. It was just like the chords. So I wrote the first verse to just the chords. So that's why you don't really hear any drums or anything like that, because I really like the way it is. And then I wrote the other verses and we kind of built the beat around my verses. So we start putting, so basically what I'm saying is when I got all the pieces together, it just didn't sound right. And I kept tweaking it and trying to change it. And I was just like, I don't know, this doesn't sound like this. I wanted it to sound like, it didn't match what I thought was in my head. But at one point I was just like, you know what? I was just driving in my car and I was listening. I was like, you know what? This shit sounds good. It's good enough. Stop overthinking. And I just did it. And I went out and I almost didn't even put it out. I almost was like, oh, this is good. I'm going to scrap this. Like, yeah, like these are the tricks that our mind play on ourselves. And I end up putting it out. And then, like you said, that's your favorite song, So it's just like, I don't fucking know what's going to be the best song. I try to just go what's in my heart, put it out there. People like it. Sometimes they just may not be ready to receive your message or your art at that time. And it may resonate a year later or 2 years later. You never know. So you just got to do it. You just got to go and do it.
So I'm sure, like every other human, sometimes we get down and we don't feel as motivated. How do you manage to get yourself, what motivates you? How do you push yourself when you go into a dark place?
That's a good question. How do I push myself? I do have negative thoughts. We all have negative thoughts and stuff like that. But I'm always motivated. I'm just a motivated person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying I like adversity, but when there's adversity, long as I know I think my biggest issue is just knowing what I'm going to do. Once I know what I'm going to do, I'm good. That's my motivation. I need to accomplish this. But when I don't, when I'm kind of just like in my own head and my mind is spinning and I don't know what to do and what should I do? What should I do? That's what kind of like holds me back. You know what I mean? And that's can take me to a dark place. So when I start to feel that, I'd be like, you know what? Just pick something to do and just make that your task. You know what I mean? And if you can accomplish that little task, whatever that little thing may be, it could be just as far like when it comes to like the art, the music, it could be just like 4 bars. So basically I just tell myself, I give myself a little goal, like just come up with 4 bars, do 4 bars and then do 8, you know what I mean? And then I kind of just build and then I start having ideas and I start getting exciting about it. And then, you know what I mean? I start getting motivated. Like even when this whole like pandemic thing, and stuff was shut down. I had all these ideas and things that I wanted to do. But then once the pandemic and stuff came and it just like, everything just like, whoa, you know what I mean? The whole world kind of stopped. It's like, what we're going to do. But me, I just was kind of just like, I was kind of down for like a couple days, a day or so, but I was like, you know what? if the world, long as this world is turning, long as there's something to do, I'm gonna do it. So I just started like, all right, let me write, let me do, just trying to make, and then I start feeling better. I start giving me goals and things to like focus on instead of focusing on like what I don't have and what I can't do. I was just like, well, what can I, because I was kind of like, damn, how am I ever going to be able to do a show again? When am I going to be able to perform? And da 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 da. And I was just like, it's not going to be the same. I'm going to lose so much money. Oh, this is depression. Like, this is my mind spinning. But I was like, you know what? What can I do? Well, I can stay home. I can make more music. That's a positive thing. I can do live streams. I started doing live streams on YouTube and performing there. And people start liking it. They start making donations. I was like, oh, okay. I can maybe take a little bit of the donations people are making. I can make more music. I can give fans what they want. So I just started looking at the positive things and trying to just use it to my benefit instead of thinking about what I can't do, and just focus on what I can do and not get depressed over the things that I can't control.
Yeah. I can relate to that because I also started doing my own show during this time.
Yeah.
So I fully can understand how, like, you just think of new ideas or do things that you think you never do otherwise. Find new
Absolutely.
opportunities.
Exactly. Like, it creates an opportunity. Like, whoa, like, oh, I didn't realize this is, like, you just gotta, it's hard. Like I said, we all know when you start going into those dark places, it's difficult, but you got to keep yourself, you got to look at what you can do. And like, look, I can't control the government. I can't control, you know what I'm saying, what's going on in the streets, but I can control my mind frame, my attitude. I can try to take whatever is going on and use it in a positive way and just give it a shot. Even if it doesn't feel like something you're motivated to do, just give it a shot. You know what I mean?
How did you know? Was there a certain moment in your life where you just knew exactly who you were?
That's a very good question. I think well, okay, yes and no. Because in life, you change. You know what I mean? You go through, so life has a funny way. I feel like from my experience, just as you feel like you're getting to know who you are, your life changes, you change. You figure out something, and then you have to change, you got to grow. So I'm constantly, and I think my albums kind of signify that. Like, there are different spaces in my life. Like, this is when I was feeling this way, and so I was feeling that way. And, making music and making art from that perspective.
It's true, because a lot of people know you for specific things. Like, they know you from battle rap or...
Exactly.
Like, what? He has a solo career. Like, if someone didn't keep up with all the things that you do.
People, it's so funny. Like, some people know me from I have so many different, I have like the battle rapping when I was on MTV. That was like way back in like 2003. And people know me for that. And they're like, yo, you were on MTV. And then when I started doing my stuff with my group, Frontline, me and Left, and we had all these commercial songs on the radio, we're performing, and 20,000 people were all over the radio, a summer jam. And people are like, and people who only know me for that. And then I went back to battle rapping. I'm battle rapping on the internet, and I'm battling. People are like, yo, you battle rapping. And then I stopped that, and then I started embarking on my solo career. And it took a long time. People are like, no, you need to battle rap, or you need to do this again. But now it's like, over time, I was like, no, because to me, I only go where I have inspiration, what feels natural for me. So for me, people are like, will you ever battle rap again? Why don't you battle rap? I was like, well, honestly, because I just wasn't motivated to do it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't the thing that it was excited about. You know what I mean? Like, I was excited about writing songs and speaking to people and expressing myself in a way, whereas like battle rapping just didn't do that for me. And the only reason why I did do battle rap, because it was exciting and it was this creative outlet that I loved. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh, I want to try this. And I'm appreciative that people really liked it, and and I was able to excel at it. But I just go where my inspiration is. You know what I'm saying? And I started producing and making beats and making music. You know what I mean? And that, you know what I'm saying? So things just go. You evolve, and sometimes you just can't go back. You know what I mean?
It just doesn't feel. I'm not gonna say right, but it doesn't feel. You don't feel that anymore to continue.
Yeah, it's uninspired. You're just uninspired. Like, if I did it, it would be uninspired. You know what I mean? So it would just be, it's just not where my mind, it's not where my mind is,
I guess that it ties into everything you just said, that as you evolve, you're going to be interested in things that you once were or weren't interested in, and you just keep going and embrace everything.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Actually, I want to know you might not have one, but I don't want to assume, what's your personal favorite song to perform? Is there something that's closer to your heart that you just, like, yeah, I loved performing this song?
Personal favorite? Oh, that's a good question. I mean, Hardest Song Ever is a very important song to me.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to say that's my favorite, you know what I mean? But it means the most, if that makes sense. Because it's something that's very personal to me. I've seen the effect that it has on people. I usually, when I go on tour, like depending on how long, like when I do my own tours, like my headlining show or something like that, I always perform that song. But a lot of times when I'm opening up for other artists and I'm only doing like, like a shorter set, maybe like 20, 30 minutes, I may not perform that song just because it's just so heavy, you know what I mean? And, like when I do my shows, I like to have an arc, you know what I mean? So I like to build up and then I like to come down and then go back up again. So that song is very serious. And I don't like to leave on a note like that. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to build up and then you come down and then you want to build up again and leave people excited. So usually when I have a longer set, I always perform that song because I feel like it's very much needed because people always come up to me like, yo, that song really meant a lot to me, blah, 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 blah. And it just, I feel like it's important. But I would say probably Nobody's probably my favorite song because it just gets the crowd hype and it's just so much energy. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's a good one.
That's the one that just people just like, all right, so that's probably like one of my favorite for sure, if not my favorite.
Actually, speaking about performing, you did Locklift. Was that last year? Am I wrong?
Yeah, last year.
How did you think of doing that?
So the idea came because not my last album, but the album before, Olive Branch. Mm-hmm. I was trying to think of creative ways to share my music with fans that were fans of mine. So I came up with the idea of Locklift, like, oh, I'm gonna meet up with fans and I'm gonna play you my new album. I'm gonna play it before anybody else gets to hear it, and I'm gonna record it. And I thought it would be a cool way. And then when I did it, everybody was like, oh, this is so amazing because nobody had did it. Like, because I remember at the time, I think J. Cole was going to people's house. I think Logic was going on a tour bus and he was bringing fans. And I was like, well, what can I do? I was like, I don't have a tour bus or anything like that. I can't go to everybody's house. I was like, but you know what I can do? I can do it for fans that are local. I can be like, hey, I'm going to come pick you up and I'm going to play you my new album.
That's amazing.
And, so I did that. And I saw how great of a response. I was like, you know what? What if I performed it for them live in the car instead of like playing it? So the next album, I kept it in my head. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna spit all these songs live, and that's how we got the Locklift. And I was like, okay. So then I started actually rapping instead of just playing the songs.
You think you'll continue that once things
pass? Oh yeah, I was gonna do it. I had it all planned for this year, and then everything just like stopped. You know what I mean? I had all planned for this year. I'm going to do these. I'm going to do all this stuff with Locklift. I mean, I still may do it eventually when things like get a little bit more open here. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to do that again. And I have some new ideas that I have in the works that I'm going to do.
If there was one thing you could change about the industry, music industry, what would that be?
I don't even think about stuff like that. I don't really think about because I'm just one of those people. I just feel like my reality is controlled by my attitude and the way I do things. So me personally, honestly, I just think I always just think about what can I do to change my reality. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think about, oh, I wish this thing would change it. Like, I don't even think like that. I just think like, all right, what I got to do. Like, I got to figure this out. I take ownership and everything on myself.
Wow, actually, that makes sense. That's beautiful. That's something I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah, I don't think about I just don't think. Now I may comment on the industry and things that I have a distaste for, dislike for, but that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? Like I don't be like it's just like if there's a girl or somebody that I like and I want to date her or something, I'm just like, I wish she would change. It's like, yo, no, she is the way she is. Like either I'm gonna like adapt or I got to be a better person so I can attract the right person for me. You know what I'm saying? It's
Well,
not, I can't be like, oh, I just want to find this. I want the things to shape to me. Like, no, I got to shape my own reality and allow the things to come to me, I guess.
that's true. Focus on yourself and not worry about how things are, because it is what it is. Whatever is happening, whatever is
Yeah.
like that.
What can you do?
Um, I know as you mentioned, you have new music you're releasing, and you just brought up vaccine. If you want to speak a little bit about vaccine and Black Holocaust, right? Those are the two.
Yeah, the last two. Yeah, so Black Holocaust was obviously just me just kind of looking at the social climate here in our country specifically, and because I see a lot of, there's a lot of tension going on in our country, especially with like um, Black people, non-Black people, and the whole political thing. And it's just my perspective on it. It's just how I look at everything that's going on with social justice or social injustice and the way it's being framed in the media and the way politics are being used. And it's just like, okay, this is, these are things that I've always talked about, but now when I see them coming to the forefront, I'm like, okay, let me put it in perspective. And I wasn't quick to like do something right away. Like, oh, this is happening. You know what I mean? Like because I like when I see these images of people getting killed and I try not to lump everything into one situation. When I see images, no matter what it is in life, as difficult it is, I try not to emotionally lump everything into one thing. I try to look at every instance and be like, okay, what happened in that instance? Okay, what happened in this? You know what I'm saying? That's just how I think. It doesn't matter if you're Black or you're white or whatever. And I've always been, I grew up as an activist. I've been going to protests since I was in high school and things like that, protesting things that I felt strongly about because I had mentors that are, that are tied to the Black Panther Party, that are tied to Malcolm X. So this is the way I grew up. So I've always had an understanding of these things, but I also understand organization. I understand keeping your emotions in check if you have certain objectives. So some of the things that I saw was going on in my country, I see, rightfully so, I just saw a lot of emotions. And I felt like organization, goals, certain things weren't being said. It was just a lot of emotion. And I tried to separate my emotions from things the best I can before as an artist, because I feel like I have a voice and I have a platform. So I look at certain things and I try to like keep my emotions in check, and then I start to think of them and critically think, and then I come up, and express it. And that's when you have Black Holocaust. I mean, I could have made an emotional song, did that kind of thing, but I just felt like I wanted some emotion, but I wanted some critical thinking too. So,
okay, Locke, I have a ultimate rapid fire round for you. So it's not only rap related; it's gonna be random.
okay.
So again, just one word answers or a sentence. Can't be elaborating.
Okay.
Okay, something most people do not know about you.
Never had a bowl of cereal.
I want to ask you more, but I can't. Oh, wow. What's the best advice you've ever been given, or something that stayed with you?
I don't know. Just
Is that
consistent. Be consistent. Be consistent.
Your favorite musical instrument?
Piano.
Your biggest strength?
Faith.
Twitter or Instagram?
Instagram.
Are you impulsive or methodical?
Methodical.
What have you watched and enjoyed on Netflix recently?
Mind Hunters. I love that show.
Mm.
I mean, I rewatched it because I watched it because it's from, it came out last year, but I just love that show. We're stuck here. So I was like, all right, we're rewatching Mind Hunters.
Fair enough. If you weren't in the music industry, do you know what you would be doing?
Probably be teaching.
That's
That's where my path was going.
interesting. Wow. Your favorite sport?
My favorite sport to play or my favorite sport to watch?
Let's go with play.
Basketball,
To watch?
football,
Okay.
American football.
Your favorite cuisine?
Wait, cuisine is mean like
What do you like to eat the most?
but cuisine means like Italian, Chinese,
Mhm.
So you mean like the whole genre or one dish?
Let's go with whole genre first. The one you go to, your go-to cuisine.
Mexican.
Okay. Now your favorite dish.
New York strip steak,
Hmm.
vegetables, roasted potatoes. That's like my birthday dinner every year.
So then, do you have a favorite restaurant as well?
I don't know. I mean, now there's a few I've been to. I mean, there's a lot of good restaurants in New York. I went to a really good restaurant in Montreal. I can't even remember that.
Okay.
Canada has some good restaurants. We can have a whole discussion about Canada. Let me tell you. We'll do that. We can have a whole I have a whole philosophy on Canada and Canadians and the whole thing. So
Okay. We'll save that
yeah.
for after. Oh man. Would you rather go skydiving or mountain climbing?
Ooh, I don't want to do either one, but I guess skydiving. Because skydiving, you just do it. You get a mountain climbing. I'm not going to do that. Like, you can fall off. It's just too many chances. Skydiving is like you do it one shot, even though I probably would never do that.
Would you rather experience the beginning of planet Earth or the end?
Wait, say that again. Your phone broke.
All right. Would you rather experience the beginning of planet Earth or the end?
The beginning.
Would you rather be able to be invisible or fly?
Fly.
Okay. Okay, that was good.
Invisible, like there's problems with that. You can run into problems, like, but flying, it's just like, yo,
why do you want to be invisible?
You're like invisible. I mean, invisible has some. I mean, but what really good comes out of invisible? Like,
Yeah, like flying is way better.
Yeah, you can sneak around. I mean, I guess, but that seems like.
How long will you want to do that for? Get boring.
Exactly. I feel like flying is just like very convenient. It's just like, yo, I can just fly. Like,
go anywhere you want to go.
Go anywhere you want to do anything you want to do. Yeah.
Usually before my guest, after I go of my guest, I always ask them what advice they would give to someone. And for you, I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give young rappers of today?
Just be consistent. You know what I'm saying? Do it because you love it. That's the only way I know how to do it. It's never a hustle for me. But just stay consistent, learn as much as you can about the craft and about the business, and just soak it all in, and do it because you love it, because that'll keep you going. And yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being on my show. And
you're very welcome. Yeah, I like good conversation.
We can do this again with new topics, because I feel like that you have so much to say, and I like listening to you and hearing your perspective on things.
For sure.
But thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit subscribe below and click on the little bell icon if you want to get a notification when I post a new video. Follow me on Instagram and share my video if you enjoyed it.